Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into a fascinating story. It's a consumer dispute that just kept going for years. And it all started with, well, what seemed like a tiny detail in a phone's description online. We're looking at a case involving Lazada, a specific seller, and one very persistent customer. Our job today is to sift through all this information we've gathered, pull out the key pieces, and see what lessons we can learn from all the twists and turns.
Absolutely. And the players involved here are quite something. You've got Lazada Thailand, the big e-commerce platform, then Xiaomi TH Store, that's the seller on Lazada, Xiaomi itself, because they provided the product catalog. Lazada's AI helper Clio pops up. Their QC team, Quality Check, plays a huge role. And of course, Lazada's lawyers, all interacting with and often against one consumer, Mr. Sekin Koichi.
All right, so let's set the scene. It starts back on November 11th, 2021. Mr. Sekin orders a phone, a Redmi 10 global version from the Xiaomi TH store via Lazada. And the crucial point, the thing this whole story hinges on, is that the product catalog clearly stated it supported NFC.
Yeah, and NFC, near-field communication, it's not some obscure tech anymore, is it? It's key for contactless payments, pairing devices quickly, lots of everyday stuff. So whether a phone have it or not, that's a pretty big deal for a lot of people. It's a core feature. Though, interestingly, there was a little disclaimer in the catalog, too. Availability may vary between regions. A bit vague.
Okay, so the phone arrives on November 15th. Mr. Sekin checks it out and, realizes there's no NFC function. So he does what you'd expect, right? He immediately requests a return. But what happens next is, well, it's messy.
It really is, because he gets two completely different answers basically at the same time. The seller, Xiaomi TH store, tells him through chat, product's genuine, no return possible, NFC not supported, basically tough luck. But then Lazada's own AI chatbot, Clio, approves his return request. It even says the reason is wrong item delivered.
Wow, okay. So mixed messages right from the start. He follows Clio's advice, sends the phone back, makes sense. But then November 24th, maybe 9 days later, Lazada's human QC team steps in and rejects the return. They say a policy issue, and they just mail the phone right back to him. What policy could possibly justify that?
Well, this is where the first major error happens. It turns out later that the QC team fundamentally misunderstood the complaint. They focused entirely on checking if the phone was a genuine Redmi 10, which it was. But they completely failed to address or even investigate Mr. Sekin's actual issue. The phone didn't match the advertised features, specifically the missing NFC. That failure, that judgment error by QC, really set this whole thing snowballing. It was a process failure.
Unbelievable. So that mistake basically kicked off years of frustration. And then you see this pattern emerge, right? Evasion from the seller, from the platform. Like on December 17th, 2021, the Xiaomi TH store chats him an apology. They say sorry for the misinformation about NFC. But, and this is key, they keep selling the phone online just as before. No public warning, no correction to the listing. It's like the apology was just for him.
Exactly. And that apology itself had a weird kind of threatening line in it, too. Something like, if later it is you who will lose the benefits.
Yeah, what does that even mean? It sounds like pressure.
It's very ambiguous. But looking at the bigger picture, that misinformation apology, while seeming like an admission, it didn't lead to any real action. They didn't stop sales, didn't fix the listing publicly. It feels more like trying to manage one complaint, quietly, rather than fixing a systemic problem that could affect loads of customers, just hoping it blows over.
And then things take another bizarre turn. February 1st, 2022, Lazada's lawyer gets involved. They just drop a voucher into Mr. Sekin's account unilaterally and then declare the case resolved without asking him.
He saw that as a complete cover-up, which you can kind of see why. It wasn't an agreed solution at all.
And get this, the same day the lawyer says case closed, the actual store, Xiaomi TH store, is still chatting with Mr. Sekin trying to negotiate.
That just shows a massive disconnect, doesn't it? Like, the legal team and the customer-facing seller aren't even talking to each other.
Yeah.
Operating on different planets.
It gets worse, though. February 18th, just a couple of weeks later, that same Lazada lawyer files a police report against Mr. Sekin.
Against the customer.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yep. At Thong Lor Police Station, alleging he refused to return the item, which is strange given they rejected his return earlier. He only found out about this report months down the line. And he claims it contained false information, like saying he demanded 35,000 baht, which he absolutely denies ever asking for.
Wow. Filing a police report, especially with allegedly false claims, that's a huge escalation. It really shifts the dynamic from a customer service issue to something much more adversarial, using legal pressure to, What, force him to return the phone they didn't want back initially and maybe silence him about the catalog error?
It certainly looks that way to him. And then more strangeness. March 18th, 2022, he notices something else. 10 days of his chat history with the store are just gone, wiped. Specifically, November 15th to 24th, 2021.
That initial period when he first reported the issue and tried to return it.
Exactly. He calls it evidence obliteration.
And you can't blame him. Deleting communication logs during an active dispute, that's a massive red flag. It immediately makes you wonder what they didn't want seen. Undermines any trust completely.
Then there's a subtle shift in how the store communicates. From March 19th, their chat avatar changes to the official Xiaomi logo, and their messages start having this follow the store stamp. Plus, they begin suggesting refunds via direct bank transfer.
Outside the Lazada system, you mean?
Yeah, bypassing Lazada altogether, which kind of suggests they're trying to handle this off the books, maybe avoid Lazada's own processes or scrutiny.
Interesting. Trying to contain it, perhaps.
So, despite all this stonewalling, the legal threats, the deleted evidence, Mr. Sekin doesn't give up. He takes it to the official channels. He files a complaint with the Consumer Protection Committee in Thailand, the OCPB. This leads to actual meetings, mediation attempts in January and June of 2023.
And that's often the necessary next step, isn't it? When talking to the company directly just goes nowhere. These consumer bodies can offer impartial investigation and mediation. They have a bit more clout.
And slowly, very slowly, it seems to have some effect. June 27th, 2023, the Xiaomi TH store issues another apology, this time for misidentified information. Still a bit vague, but closer.
Progress, maybe, inch by inch.
And then finally the big one, November 20th, 2023. That's almost 3 years after he bought the phone. In an official report to the OCPB, the Xiaomi TH store formally admits it. They state the product does not have an actual NFC system as stated.
Wow. So black and white confirmation. The catalog error is officially acknowledged.
Exactly. It completely validates his core complaint after all that time and effort.
But here's the really troubling part. Even after admitting this error officially to a government body, the report suggests the store kept selling the phone, with the same misleading info.
Apparently so. And Lazada, the platform, seemingly allowed it to continue.
That raises huge questions, doesn't it? About corporate ethics, accountability. What's the point of an admission if nothing changes? And where's the platform's responsibility in policing its own listings?
And even while this OCPB process was ongoing, Lazada's own customer service chats were still evasive. As late as March 2023, their support agents kept telling Mr. Saikin to chase Xiaomi Tai directly. They even tried to distance Lazada from that voucher the lawyer sent, saying it was provided only by seller.
Which seems like dodging responsibility again. The platform handles the money, the returns, the whole ecosystem. How can they wash their hands of a refund mechanism issued through their system? It really pushes the burden back onto the consumer unfairly, making them navigate between the seller, the manufacturer, the platform. It's exhausting.
We even saw a chat log from April 2023 where a Lazada agent tried to explain that initial QC rejection. The agent basically admits the QC team thought the item is clearly the same, even though Mr. Sekin kept saying the issue was NFC and the item does not match the advertise.
So they're almost admitting their own QC team's flawed logic right there in the chat.
Pretty much. The agent acknowledged advertisement mismatch is a valid reason for return, but confirmed their team messed up by not recognizing it in this case.
It's like they knew their process failed him, but still didn't fix it for years. That internal contradiction is staggering.
And then, incredibly, that same support agent, after checking with a supervisor, tells Mr. Sekian if he's unsatisfied, he should report to the police station.
They told him to go to the police after their lawyer filed a report against him.
Yes, and they accused him of just complaints, even while saying they needed evidence to help you get withdrawn, presumably meaning withdraw the police complaint they filed.
That's beyond poor customer service. That's actively trying to flip the script and put the onus entirely on the wronged consumer. It's quite shocking.
Okay, so just when you think it can't get any worse, July 2024 rolls around, a really dramatic development. Mr. Sakai discovers his Lazada account has been closed. Just shut down, no warning.
His entire account after all this.
Yes. And that voucher, the one their lawyer unilaterally deposited back in 2022, confiscated, taken back.
So they revoked their own supposed resolution.
Seems so. And once again, all his chat logs with the store, deleted, wiped clean from the account he can no longer access.
That feels punitive and like a final attempt to erase the history. Closing the account, taking back the voucher, deleting the logs again. It looks like a complete abandonment of responsibility. It raises serious questions about what rights users have on these platforms, especially when disputes arise. Can they just digitally disappear you and the evidence?
Well, Mr. Seekine wasn't disappeared. He fights back again. November 28, 2024, he files a new criminal complaint. This time at Dinding Police. And he names names. Xiaomi TH Store, Lazada's QC team, and Lazada's lawyer.
What are the charges this time?
He lays out several. Fraud for selling the phone advertised with NFC but lacking it and then denying the return. Consumer Protection Act violations for hiding the catalog error, continuing sales, not informing anyone. And defamation for ignoring him, hiding the truth, and filing that allegedly false police report against him earlier.
So he's alleging deliberate deception and harmful actions, not just mistakes.
Yes. He's demanding legal action, penalties, restoration of his honor, and damages. He's not letting it go.
This really pushes the question, doesn't it? When does consistently bad handling, evasion, and potentially false accusations cross the line from terrible service into something potentially criminal? His complaint lays that out very clearly.
And now, the very latest update we have, March 11, 2025. So just recently, Lazada customer care sends him a message. And this message finally seems to acknowledge the core issue. They call the product description mismatch, misleading advertising that could cause confusion. That's a direct admission.
After nearly 3.5 years, misleading advertising.
Yes. And critically, they state two things. One, the refund has been processed, and two, the sale of that specific phone model has been suspended from the Xiaomi TH store on their platform.
Suspending sales, that's the action he was demanding from the very beginning, wasn't it? To stop others from being misled.
Exactly. They also offered apologies and said they're committed to improving their product standards.
Well, it's something. It's validation, and it's action, finally. But the sheer length of time, the hoops he had to jump through, the police reports, the deleted evidence, the account closure, it took years of relentless pressure for Lazada to finally acknowledge the misleading advertising and suspend sales. That journey itself speaks volumes about the challenges here.
Absolutely. So wrapping this deep dive up, the key takeaway isn't just about, a smartphone missing a feature. That was just the spark. It became this huge saga about corporate responsibility, or the lack thereof, about how far one consumer had to go. And it raises questions about the integrity of these huge online marketplaces we all use.
Yeah, the lesson seems pretty clear. For businesses, transparency, honesty, and fixing mistakes quickly can save so much trouble, legal cost, and brand damage. Just own up and sort it out. And for consumers, wow, this case is a masterclass in keeping records, being persistent, and not being afraid to use official channels when you know you're right. His documentation was key.
So it leaves us with a thought, doesn't it? We rely so much on product descriptions online. It's often all we have. How much can we really trust that information? And maybe more importantly, what happens when that trust is broken? Is accountability always going to be a multi-year battle like this one? Something to definitely think about.